But there's an alternative. You don't have to fire the agency, and I can keep my job, and my boss won't shoot me when he reads this presentation. I probably already will. You can fundamentally say, we're good at producing our widgets or our services, and we're not in the brand building, experience designing, website designing, Flickr page utilization, Facebook construction business. We stick to what we like. There's no business like core business. And that's a different choice. And that's a choice that I believe needs to be pondered very carefully, because you can't have it both ways. We don't want an agency. We'll do it in-house. Okay, make your house the kind of house where you're going to foster the type of innovation and ideas you need. Or we do want an agency because we want to focus on our core business. Exxon produces and distributes oil products. It doesn't develop advertising campaigns nor web pages, and it accepts that, except for Exxon's IT, but we won't talk about them today. This is an important decision. Of course, you can order a la carte. Big variety, small price. Why pay more? And that's what's going on thanks to our friends in procurement. We can always get it cheaper. Always. See, another one of the less well-kept secrets in this world is there's an oversupply of agencies. We actually don't need as many. That's why I was suggesting you fire them. I'm just hoping a few of us will remain. The reality is the messaging business agencies, there's one every corner in New York. You go outside, every third person works or worked for an agency, which probably speaks to some of the problems in New York. But you can always get it cheaper. Cheaper isn't necessarily better. It's not necessarily faster. It doesn't necessarily work, but it costs less. But you can order a la carte, and you can order a la carte smart. You can go to that really cool, excellent food stand and just buy the carrots because they're organic. And that could be good too, but think about it. See, there's a big menu. In our complicated world full of all these things that are happening pretty much simultaneously, certainly 24/7, you've got creative shops, you've got media shops, you've got your PR agencies, you've got your web designers, you've got your search engine optimization specialists, and if they're like in my company, the SEO people don't talk to the SM people because that's not good. You've got email providers who want to be your email strategist. You've got CRM suppliers who will do everything for you and measure it. This is a difficult menu. It's a smorgasbord, and I actually shudder for the average medium to small size company that has to somehow navigate itself through this mess. And that's going back to Forrester's chart, the specialization. It's a challenge. You can go one-stop shopping. It's usually about this elegant. You can't quite put it in your pocket, but it'll do everything. It might do everything pretty well. It might do a few things exceptionally well. Most of my clients will tell me, and I think they're right, that the problem with one-stop shopping is the ultimate sense of compromise somewhere. Agencies like McCann Relationship Marketing, in my case, we go out and honestly, sincerely tell our clients, we can do just about everything for you thanks to the resources of what is, if you put McCann World Group together, the world's largest advertising agency services brand in terms of revenue. We can solve any problem if you're willing to pay us to solve any problem. We can put teams together and have them collaborate, but one-stop shopping often makes people feel uneasy. I want a different opinion. I want to prod my agency for better thinking. I want to keep them on my toes. It's a choice, and it's a difficult choice. And once again, I go back to my thesis, which is don't just let the status quo, because the status quo isn't working very well. You can fix the relationships you have. This removes the scratches, repairs and removes scratches and swirls, and it, as seen on TV, it's got to work. Sometimes the best way to get better value out of a supplier is to try to get better value out of that supplier. Not always. I can tell you living under the threat of being fired actually doesn't create better work. But that's what a lot of large corporations do right now with their suppliers. And I think that goes back to one of the big myths of industry, which is somehow everything is measurable by quarter. So if sales this quarter are down, we've got to fire the agency. It's easier than laying off the marketing staff. The time invested in making your agency relationship work, if you think you need an agency, if you're willing to pay the premium, is often well spent. Of course, we can do kumbaya. Never seen this happen. I actually had the music here, but I thought that would just kill the conference. The point is, sometimes you have these meetings. Some people, with all due respect, call them come to Jesus meetings. We can get together. We can go on an offsite. We used to do golf alt-sites with our Intercontinental Hotel Group client in Atlanta when I was at Digitas. And there were a bunch of us who didn't play golf. And sorry, I know that's a sin. And we used to drive around in golf carts and serve beers. And my colleague said, oh, we're trolling for scopes of work. So you can do offsites and make that happen, but there's always the commercial thing. But ultimately, I think kumbaya doesn't make sense unless there's a really good business thing. And I'll get back to the business case. You're allocating capital, and you need a good rate of return. 2.5 to 3.5 times cost. You better make that relationship work. Of course, I do personally have a little thing going with procurement. I know I hid that. I suggest we zap the dreaded procurement monster. I suggest that marketing staff actually learn how to negotiate with their suppliers, because they're going to own the relationship with the procurement people go back. I had the privilege to work for Sears Holdings as an agency for a couple years, and I had one meeting where the meeting before mine to talk about a large piece of our contract, the gentleman I was sitting with in procurement actually was meeting with the people who sell salt so that they can de-ice their parking lots in the northern states in the winter. And he was quite expert at salt acquisition. So that's part of the problem as well. So if you're going to work with a supplier, if you're going to place the future of your organization and your entire interactive marketing strategy, your brand strategy, and your customer experience, and all those things we do, if you're going to place that in the hands of an external organization, I'm not saying overpay them, but take direct responsibility for the relationship. But seriously, fire your agency, but if you're going to work with us, those ad guys not necessarily on Madison Avenue, treat them as partners or bring it in-house. There's nothing wrong with taking it in-house, as long as you can create the environment, the culture, and put up with the talent and the opera stars. But what we have to do is stop this kick every supplier around approach, which I don't think all of you do. I think it's built into many corporate cultures and the quarterly financial pressures. But you need to find a way to actually get these people to do great work. And that's hard, especially the non-compromise thing, which I loved Jeff saying this morning. If you don't, these people will begrudgingly work because they're just human. And ultimately, that 20% attrition rate will not create enduring and sustainable value. And ultimately, you'll get fed up with your agency and the door will spin. And the value is lost once again. So what we have to do is really consider what we're giving to agencies. And what we do give to agencies, we have to do well. And maybe that's less, but let's do less better. And decide what your core business is. And if you want to be out of your core business, because maybe your core business is also marketing the product or service you have, that's okay too. But let's change the way we're working. Don't do nothing. I love this quote. It's a little bit offbeat. It's true, hard work never killed anybody. I figure, why take the chance? Ronald Reagan. I don't know if that's true. It seemed like he worked quite hard when he was president, except when he was hacking away at the mesquite in Santa Barbara. We have to change. If you do anything, please go back to your homes and your companies and think, are we really getting value out of this relationship? So much depends on it. I'm making a plea on behalf of the advertisers of America to try to fix this relationship. So thank you for your time, and I'm delighted to take questions or just throw tomatoes, whatever works.